Interpolation is another useful technique to fill in missing data, but you should really try and understand whether the situation that you have is a valid choice to use interpolation to fill in your data. There are different types of interpolation as well. The default method is linear interpolation. Let's see this with an example. Say you have different fares for different classes. Say first class fare is this much, second class we don't know the value, third class open class. So there is an internal ordering to this. We want to find out what is the value of the second class, and we are going to use interpolation for that. So the series is formed here. This value we want to fill in. You can use the interpolate method of series. You can use that to fill in that data. You can simply use ser.interpolate and that will give you the result. That will simply fill in the linear interpolation. That works like this. Linear interpolation works like this. So the first value is appearing here. So first value you can consider it as 60. Second value you can consider it as 100 over here, right? If third value is this much, first value is this much, second value must lie somewhere in between in a linear fashion. That's how linear interpolation works. Of course, when trying to fill this, all the values are taken. So open class is also taken, and this should be taken as the fourth level. So this is the first level, second level, third level, and fourth level. This ordering is important. Besides this, you can explore other methods as well. One other popular method is the use of spline. Set spline method equal to spline, and you can set the order also. The higher the order, the more curved your spline curves will look like. Let's do this for the same fair data. So the data frame looks like this. You can still apply interpolate on data frame as well. The same logic works, same output you get. Reset the index. Right now, instead of using the default, we are setting method equal to spline and order equal to 2. So if you do that, this is the value of the second class. So how to choose which method to use? If you intuitively feel that the values will have a linearly increasing relationship, then you can go for the default linear method. But if you feel that the relationship between the orders that you have, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, the relationship is not a linearly increasing curve, you might want to try out spline and try increasing the order also. So that's how you can use it. Let's do a mini challenge on this. So the dataset that you are going to use for this is Titanic underscore missing. From this dataset, fill in the missing values in fares column and see how your results compare when you use linear interpolation and spline interpolation of the order 2. Try it, give it a shot. I will show you the answers as always. So importing the data frame, seeing the top 20 values, we have the P class and fare. Now, when we are interpolating the fare, we know that the fare depend on the passenger class. So we are going to use the P class column as the index column to interpolate your fare. Let's first do a direct interpolate on this and see the result. So here we see the different fares coming up. The missing values are filled in here. Let's compare it against the actuals. I'm going to use pd.concat to compare against the actuals. The actual values are present in df underscore orish data frame. So this is the actuals. This is the one that contained the missing values. This is the interpolated one. This is the actuals. All right. So here you can see that the predicted value is quite far off from the actuals. So this is the predicted. This is actuals. So this doesn't seem to work well. This doesn't seem to be working well because the predictions are far off, right? It is not representing any value that is anywhere close to the actuals. So we are doing something wrong, right? So what we should do instead is, before you do the interpolation, you need to first sort the values based on P class, because we decided that we are going to use the P class as the index for doing the interpolation, right? So first sort the data based on P class and then do interpolation. Let's look at that result. So this is the output. Let's concat this to the original and then compare. So here, this is actual. This is the dataset with missing. This is linear. This is after sorting. Now let's compare the results. This is after sorting based on P class. This is quite closer to the actuals, right? Compared to this is quite closer. Looking at the next one, this is still doing better than this one, right? This is closer to the actuals compared to this one. So this is also good. Let's do one more. Here also 7.38 is closer to 9.46 compared to 38.25. So this is also good. This is also good. compared to the actual. This is almost very close to the actuals. Not so much over here. This is not doing that well. This is probably an anomaly, right? So overall, if you look at the predictions that you get from Interpolate after sorting is more accurate than just doing it on randomly arranged rows. So you need to take care that your data is sorted appropriately based on the index, whichever column that you use as the index, it should be sorted based on that, and then do the interpolation. So that completes it. A big congratulations if you got this one right.